People's Commish.
As People's Commissioner of the NFL, my question is, why isn't former Raiders quarterback and two-time Super Bowl winner Jim Plunket in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Hell, anybody that could fit that head into a helmet deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Did you know that Jim Plunket's mother's Mexican? Could it be that he's not in the Hall of Fame because NFL stands for Not for Latinos?
Hey, what about his stats, George?
Valente, está loco, stats. You want stats? Cabrón, I'll give you stats.
Dime.
Mira, Jim threw for more touchdowns than Joe Namath, Phil Simms, Roger Staubach, or Joe Theismann. And he ran for more touchdowns than Aikman, Favre, Len Dawson, or Norm Van Brocklin, Flying Dutchman, my ass! And he won more Super Bowls than Fouts, Tarkington, Kelly, and Dan Marino combined. Sorry, Dan, I know you're my homie, but you lost, eh? It won't hurt the Hall of Fame to let us move in. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame let Santana in. It's not like he brought 8 of his cousins with him. Let's look at a few Hall of Famers and consider their qualifications.
You tell him, carnal.
Orale.
Orale.
Walter Payton. Remember? You remember? One word. Sweetness. My favorite player. No question. Hall of Famer. Joe Namath. Broadway Joe. Scored more than any man in professional history. Not a bad football player either. Hall of Famer. Terry Bradshaw. Couldn't spell Prozac if you spotted him the Z, the A, and the C. Thought his best work was done in Cannonball Run. Hey, all right. But he won 4 Super Bowls. Hall of Famer. Give me a little credit. This is too easy. Plus, I'm afraid he might kill me. Like if Pete Rose can't be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, they had to throw O.J. Simpson's ass out of the Football Hall of Fame. And any other players whose wife has 911 on the speed dial. So what do you think, my man? Plunket in the Hall of Fame?
That works for me. And Tom Flores isn't in either.
Flores is Latino. I thought he was Italian. Hey, this is George Lopez, the People's Commissioner, alongside the People's Quarterback, Jim Plunket, for Inside the NFL. Shoo! Jim, 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 Jim.
Well, we have a Hall of Fame.
Jim, yeah, we're all to the good case.
We have a Hall of Fame voter right here, standing in the shadows, Peter King. Why isn't Plunket in Canton?
There are some people, Bob, who belong in the Hall of Very Good. Jim Plunket and Chris Collinsworth being 2 of those.
Hey, I'll take it. These 2 guys get in, right?
I'm going to put both of them in. Now, let me just tell you 2 things about Plunket. To me, played 15 years. All right. No Pro Bowls, no All-Pro. I mean, that's a pretty damaging thing. The Pro Bowl, you have to be one of the 3 best quarterbacks in your conference. In 15 years he played. And the other thing, I mean, he played 15 years and he's got 1 20-touchdown season. That's it. Come on, put him in. What's the matter with you?
He won 2 Super Bowls.
You're
won 2 Super Bowls.
2 teams in the National Football League, and then there are the Oakland Raiders.
The Silver and Black Show, with 2-time Super Bowl champion Jim Plunket and the voice of the Oakland Raiders, Greg Papa.
Yes, he is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, but as George Lopez correctly asked last week on Inside the NFL, why is my partner Jim Plunket not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Later on, we're going to delve into this massive oversight later on during the Silver and Black Show, but I did see Inside the NFL last week on HBO, Plunket, and there you are, nice cameo, and it was shocking to me to find you hanging around the bar.
Yeah, I was shocked to be found at the bar, actually, but they did a nice job. I was very happy to be a part of that group, and George Lopez is a very funny man.
He is a good guy. We're going to get into this later on. This guy should be in Canton, Ohio, but this week on the real Broadway, of course, in New York is Broadway Joe, your former nemesis back in the old AFL days, and rightfully so. Joe Willie Namath is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but unrightfully, our guy Jim Plunket, a 2-time Super Bowl winner, to Namath's 1 Super Bowl win, not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Here is last week's edition of Inside the NFL. Comedian George Lopez with a serious vein makes the point we should all make. Jim Plunket should be in Canton, Ohio.
Could it be that he's not in the Hall of Fame because NFL stands for Not for Latinos? Jim threw for more touchdowns than Joe Namath, Phil Simms, Roger Staubach, or Joe Theismann. And he ran for more touchdowns than Aikman, Favre, Len Dawson, or Norm Van Brocklin, Flying Dutchman, my ass! And he won more Super Bowls than Fouts, Tarkington, Kelly, and Dan Marino combined. Sorry, Dan, I know you're my homie, but you lost, eh? So what do you think, my man? Plunket in the Hall of Fame?
That works for me. And Tom Flores isn't in either.
Flores is Latino. I thought he was Italian.
George Lopez, love that. Not for Latinos line. You got to love that. Plunket, very odd to find him around the bar, George. But to make the point, Tom Flores should be, as you said, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a two-time Super Bowl winning head coach. George, you make the point. This guy's got to be in the Hall.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you look at his numbers. 17 years he played in the NFL. Number one quarterback all those years. And the most impressive thing is that he won 2 Super Bowls. And when you look at the quarterbacks who are in the Hall of Fame with 2 Super Bowls, there are, 3 or 4 guys that have done that. I think 3 of them are in, and Jim's not in. So I think that's case enough for Jim to be in the Hall of Fame.
And the only guy that's won 2 that's not in is John Elway. And, of course, he will be in once he's eligible. Are you going to be modest or immodest? We know you should be in the Hall of Fame. Why do you think you're not in the Hall of Fame?
I have no idea. My career, I think a lot like Rick Myers said, didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to. A lot of ups and downs. I went to New England for 5 years, struggled. I went to San Francisco where I wanted to work out very badly. It did not. Came to the Raiders, sat behind Kenny Stabler for 2 years, and only got my opportunity because Dan Pastorini broke his leg. But, I took advantage of that opportunity and, put a good string together for the Raiders. And, why I'm not in it, I don't know. Certainly I'd like to be. If I'm not, that's the way it goes.
Well, you're a Hall of Famer around here, but this guy, without a doubt, should be in Canton, Ohio. Nice bit, but George Lopez, a funny guy. And that was, you flew down to L.A. for that, huh?
Yes, I did. And I sat right at that bar for 5 hours waiting for my line to come up, and it finally came up.